Hello, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Julie.
So now we're going to do a review of Trekking Through History. This is a Kickstarter game we backed, and the version that we played is the retailer version. It did come with a couple of expansions, but we didn't play with those on the how to play and playthrough video that you can check out. Now this is 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up. It takes about 30 to 60 minutes.
Did you see what's written on the inside of the lid?
Oh, I can show it real quick if you want. I've seen it before, but...
History is not a burden on the memory, but an illumination of the soul. I think that's so awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that they put that
cool.
in there. All right, so this is a score the most points puzzle game. And you will learn some history along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So this is it comes with a mat, and it's a quality mat, meaning that some mats that we've gotten, the colors are very washed out, very well made in that department, and it's looks good too. Mm-hmm. So you're going to play over 3 eras. Here's the first era deck, the second and the third. I'm just putting it on here. The score track does go up to 100 points. But you'll reveal these cards in each of these columns here. And on your turn, you can select any of the 6, even the one on top of the draw pile. You'll see that there's ancestor cards here in a 2-player game. There are 6 available. There's more available in the 3 and 4-player game. Here is the clock. This is you can only go to so many events in an era before time runs out. So for instance, if I were to take this one, 450 BCE, this 4 indicates that it's going to take up 4 hours for me to go on that event unless I spend a time crystal. We each start with 1 in our crystal tank. So you can use crystals to lessen the amount of hours it takes to go to visit an event. But it's always, you can't go below 1. So even if I had 4 crystals, I can't make this 0. Okay, I could spend 3 if I had it to make it only cost 1 hour. At the end of the game, each crystal that you don't spend is worth 1 point. So you got to consider that. If you end the era exactly at 12 o'clock, you get 3 bonus points. But let's say I was right here and I did get this card and I went 1, 2, 3, 4. I went 3 hours over. I don't get the bonus points, but I could go over the time if I had to. So you're going to be collecting events, and you're going to be getting rewards, experiences on it. So I'll show you in the rule book here what each one means. So events will give you personal experience, event, innovation, progress, wild, and time crystals. So why do you want these counters that you keep in here? Looking at this example again, I can get an innovation, a progress marker, and a personal experience marker. So how do I get those 3 tokens? Well, it's because you're going to have itineraries. And you're going to start with 4. And you're going to select 1 for your first era. It says in the first time you play to select 1 randomly. But as you get used to it, I'm looking right here, that the beginning cards, there's a lot of personal experience available. So I'm probably going to want an itinerary that I can take advantage of personal experience. This one, these 2 right here, I might be getting tokens I can't use. So I'm not going to go with these 2. So let's say I went with this one, okay? And then Julie would have hers too, say she went with this one. If I do take this card, I get to place them on my itinerary. And this is the puzzle part, because you want to try to fill it in a way where you get bonus points and you fill in rows. So if I put another progress marker here, I get 3 points. So if I were to do it on another event, I'd get. Or if I were to fill in this entire row here, I need to get 2 events eventually. Say I got a wild. I can put a wild anywhere I want, but it has to go in order. I can't just skip ahead. I would get 6 points then, and then I'd go up 6. So you could score multiple points in a turn where you not only score the 6 there, but you score maybe a 2 down here and things like that. So that's one part of the game, is completing this itinerary as much as you can before you run out of time. Another aspect of the game is you want to try to complete events in order. So if I got this one 450 before a common era, you'll see that there's a chart that it comes with to help younger people and those who are not used to counting backwards. And it tells you what the counter mix is. So on the first day, the first era, you have a lot of before common era. Then it counts backwards. Now this is for those of you who were in school before they used that term. It was BC, and then 80. Now it's before common era and common era. And they did that for the, not everybody is Christian. They don't use a Christian calendar, so that's why they did that. And then you count forward. So this kind of gives you an idea of the counter mix. So for instance, on the third era, you only have one that's before common era. And it's pretty much going more modern, more 1800s to the present day. So why do you want to collect your cards in order? By the way, when you collect a card, you just replace it. You slide it down. So let's say I got it from here. You'd slide these down and you flip up the next card. Now I have a card that's 450 BC. If I get this card here, 2000 BCE, it doesn't come next in sequence. So I would start another pile, which means if I did get this card, I turn it over, put it off to the side, and you'll see here there's a scoring track at the end of the game. After you complete all 3 eras, that one card there, because I only went 1 card in sequence, I lose 3 points. Let's say though, I did collect these in order. I would have 2 cards, I'd get 0 points. The idea though is to get as many cards as you can to complete in order. I think the most we ever did in one game was 7 or 8. You can get 18 points, 15 points. It'd be pretty amazing to get 10 and get 30.
Yeah.
Get 30
really
points.
Hard.
So part of the struggle of the game is that you want to get cards that give you tokens to complete your itinerary, but then also try to get cards in sequence that help you get bonus points at the end of the game or to avoid losing points. Now you can always take an ancestor. So let's say I had 1829, okay? And I'm like, oh, bummer. There's no cards available here that's after 1829. I can take an ancestor and it's the same date as the previous card. So at least then I wouldn't lose 3 points at the end of the game. I would have 2 cards. I would get 1 wild, okay? And with these 2 cards, I would be up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the time track, unless I spent a crystal at one point, and maybe it would be 4. So you're collecting cards in sequence to try to get bonus points. You're taking cards to complete your itinerary, and once all players have reached the 12 o'clock, whether on time or past the time, the era ends. You clean up the cards, lay out the other cards, you remove your tokens, and then you do the next era. The only other thing is that crystals, like I said, are worth 1 bonus point for each that you don't use at the end of the game. And I think that's about it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
I think you did a great job.
Yeah, it's a very easy to teach and learn game. All right, so let's take a look at our reviews. We give our neutrals, positives, and negatives, and then we give our rating based on the BGG rating scale.
And I get to go first.
So here we go.
All right.
Oh, wrong one.
All right. I found this to be very interesting and a really fun way to learn history. I'm not going to lie, the chart that David showed you of the times, I refer to that all the time because I get very confused on which way I'm supposed to go. So this has been a lifesaver for me and a lifesaver for him, so he doesn't have to remember for me. I get to do it on my own.
And for young people, they need that chart too.
It's extremely easy to learn and play. Granted, I didn't read the rules, but I picked up on it very quickly. And when you're not doing a full playthrough and how to play, the playing time is really quick with 2 people. It goes really fast. I found this to be a very pretty game. The colors are just beautiful. They're very soothing. They're not like right in your face. The art is just
I forgot to mention, it does have descriptions on the back.
Yep. So if you don't in a rush and you don't care how long it takes to play, it is kind of fun to read on the card what it's doing and what it's about, and that way you both learn, because even though David's a history major, he still doesn't remember everything that's on these cards.
Social studies and elementary education. So I've taught social studies for over 26 years now. And
the components are super well made. The timepieces are really fun they're nice and chunky.
Oh yeah, here, I'll show that.
It's just, I really like this game a lot. I just found it really nice way to learn. And, the puzzle aspect of it is also very fun. It can be a little challenging because you're like, oh gosh,
Now, these are wood.
which card do I take? And so
Yeah, these are wood and the timepieces are plastic. These are all plastic.
they're really, but it's fun. They're fun to touch and play with. And I don't know. I
Yeah,
liked it.
they're custom pieces.
Yeah. What did you say, sweetie?
All right, let's take a look.
See, I do the really mushy, easy things, and he does the harder stuff.
No, we agree a lot on the same things. I just noticed different things being a game designer.
True.
And been in the industry since 1999 and being an educator. So it's easy to learn, teach, and play, so we agree on that. Quality art and components, see, no surprises there. Decent playing time, although you can get a little bit of analysis paralysis when you're trying to figure out
That's
the
true.
best play. So you're going to see on the playthrough, there are times when we're figuring out, okay, if I do this, I might overshoot the clock, but then I complete more stuff and get points here. So you can get a little bit of that, trying to do the best play.
And you'll see he helped me with that a few times too, because I just wasn't able to wrap my head around it.
So I'm neutral. There is some player interaction. The player interaction is basically unknowingly denying somebody a card that they wanted.
Definitely
And you try,
unknowingly.
and then what you try to do at times is, because whoever's on top goes next. So you'll see, for instance, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to use if I take a card that's worth 3. Where's a 3 here?
Right here.
Okay, so if I take a card that's worth 3, I go, well, I'm going to spend a crystal, if I had one, to go on top, so I get to go again. That way I can see the next card and get something I really want in case Julie takes something I wanted.
Right.
So there's some strategy there, but there's not much player interaction.
And not a lot of take that, which I like.
Well, yeah, it's not that
Yeah.
type of game.
No, I like that.
It's engaging gameplay. You are, even when it's not your turn, you're thinking of the best plays. Now, I can think, though, on a 3 or 4 player game,
Yeah.
you might not be able to plan too far ahead because maybe too many cards will be taken that you wanted.
That's a good point.
But when it's your turn, you're definitely engaged. And I think there's probably more engagement in 2-player than 3 or 4 for that reason. So it's more focused on puzzle play than learning history. So that's a negative for me. So what I mean by that is I've used games like Timeline where you're placing dates on a timeline and you're looking at it and you're engaging. You're using your memory and it's more learning of the events. And when you play Professor Noggin, which we're going to do a review of that soon,
Okay.
I'll use that more with a lesson. I'd use that specifically with a lesson, and you'd maybe provide a choice menu that when you're done with your regular assignments, hey, would you like to play Professor Noggin or Timeline? You do it for rewards. I could tie those games more easily into
Okay.
the curriculum. This would be more enrichment. And that's, no, yes, you do have the text back here, but it's so all over the place. With Timeline, I can pick certain decks to go with certain things we're studying. Same with Professor Noggin. Whereas this, because you're covering all these time periods all around the world,
Right.
I couldn't use it specifically. Now, you could have children create their own cards, which I've done with Professor Noggin and stuff like that. And I could do that with this, where you have them study, and I've taught that in my college courses. I teach at Touro University, and I've done trainings with teachers. I've had them make their own cards as to help kids prepare for the final or for an exam, and they make games of the stuff they studied. I've even presented at the National Association of Science Teachers, where I worked with a science teacher where she used it with her kids, where they had to create games teaching science concepts. You can do the same thing with this, okay?
That's cool.
But with the game as it is, I will not use it as much for direct instruction, tying in directly. It would be more for enrichment. Play this when you're done with all your work or after school. And so I thought there would be more educational connection, because what happens is as you're playing, you're so focused on finishing your itinerary and doing the great plays, sometimes we don't even read
That's
the
true.
description up here. We're like, the only thing we're looking at is the date,
Yeah.
okay, and what it gives you. And sometimes I could care less with the pictures and this. So you can get sometimes lost in that puzzle aspect. You don't even care. There's times when we're doing the How Play and Playthrough, I made a note for the audience to mention it, but there's sometimes we forgot to do it because we were so focused on the other things. So, it's a catch-22 thing. You have a really well-designed game, but the learning part of it can get lost. But a plus is educational merit, and you can use it for history discovery, like I said, for enrichment.
Yeah.
So to see what our rating is based on just that couple one neutral thing and one negative thing, I said, let's see how we rated it.
Okay. Wow, you did say an 8,
Yeah,
just like me. Okay.
It is a fun game to play. The
it
puzzle
is.
aspect is definitely fun. From an educator point of view, this is worth owning if you have the time for your kids to play it after school, before school, or just if you're doing games as rewards.
I think as a parent, it's a really good game to have too.
But then again, even a homeschooling situation, unless you're doing a lesson where you're going to have them create cards on a unit and you use the system, which you could do. You could have kids create cards. Let's say we're studying the Civil War. We could create all of our cards on the Civil War and use this system, but we have our own decks. But again, that's enrichment. Okay.
Well, what I was thinking, like a family game night, that this would be really, it could spark such a huge interest in a munchkin that they might want to become a history major or a history teacher.
Okay, so that goes to my point about it being educational history discovery. It's for discovery. You're not teaching direct standards.
No.
So the difference between this is if an evaluator came into my classroom and I was having the kids play this, I would have to have an objective on the board, and how does it tie in to the curriculum? Because it's all over the place.
Yeah.
It would be hard to justify it unless, like I said, they created their own decks that was tied directly into what we're studying.
Yeah.
Or I said, this is a reward for the 4 kids in the back of the class who finished all their work, and it's enrichment.
No, that makes sense. I guess I was just thinking it more of as a parent. But then I remember the history thing.
Well, I'm just talking about from the educational standpoint. As a parent, yeah, we'd have loved to have played this with our kids.
Oh, heck yeah. Well, we'll definitely be looking forward to playing this with future grandchildren, or even our friends that have younger children, playing this with them and seeing with this interest, the history interest.
Even then, though, a parent might have to help a younger person. Ages 10 and up is fine.
Oh, right.
Ages 10 and up is fine, but there's vocabulary on here that a 10-year-old will not be able to handle unless they're above grade level in reading. If I were to do a reading analysis of this, you would see the vocabulary. Some of the vocabulary is pretty high.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. But then a parent could read that to the child.
Sure. And they could always look up what the words are when the kids ask.
That's why, again, I say it's more discovery.
I get you. I got you. Right. I got you.
So, good game. We both enjoy, would suggest it.
Yes.
This would be higher for me if it wasn't such the analysis paralysis of trying to do the best moves and the emphasis on puzzle over learning history. I would have rated it a 9 or 10.
I get that.
But it's still a good game.
It is a very good game. And we hope that this helps you decide one way or another if you even want to try it out. And if you have bought it and you're a little confused, please watch our How to Play and Playthrough, and hopefully we can help you figure out how to do all this.
Yeah, so one last thing is that the rule book is well done, and it does come with, I forgot to mention this, it does come with some helpful reference cards.
Oh, wow. You actually like the rule book. Very nice.
Well, first of all, it's not a complicated game. There's people who screw up uncomplicated games rule books, so they did a good job, didn't screw it up, and the reference cards are actually useful.
Good.
All right, I forgot to say that. All right, so thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.